In this video, we're looking closely at 10 overrated firearms that often generate heated debate and hefty price tags, from legendary behemoths to everyday carry favorites. Get ready, because the conversation is about to get heated. To enjoy more videos from the Gun Warehouse, subscribe to this channel now. Starting at number 10 is the AK-47. Critics argue that the AK-47's legendary status might be more hype than substance, a case of nostalgia overpowering practicality. Undoubtedly, the AK and its civilian variants are famous for rugged reliability, usually chambered in 7.62 by 3.9mm. The platform boasts an impressive track record in brutal conditions, with a standard 16-inch barrel pushing rounds at about 2,300 feet per second. A typical civilian AK holds 30 rounds and weighs around 7 to 8 pounds unloaded. It is built with stamped steel receivers in either wood or polymer furniture, but has its unstoppable reputation held up against modern innovation? The AK's long-stroke gas piston system is famous for eating dirt and still firing. While the iron sights get the job done, they are basically a notched rear tangent sight and a hooded front post. The safety lever is unmistakable but clunky, requiring a deliberate sweep. It is a no-frills, rock-solid design, but some argue it is overhyped, especially considering the cost of well-built models in the US. Market: a high-quality American-made or imported AK can easily hit the $1,000 mark, even though the original design was meant for cheap mass production. Ergonomics isn't its strong suit either. The stock can feel too short for taller shooters. The grip angle is old school and uncomfortable, and mounting optics aren't as straightforward as on an AR-15. You'll need specialized side rails or aftermarket dust covers to slap on a red dot, and adding Picatinny rails just drives up the cost further. Meanwhile, AR-15s come ready for endless customization right out of the box. Its availability is inconsistent. While budget AK clones under $700 can be found, the quality varies significantly across different models. High-end versions can compete price-wise with premium AR-15s, leading some to question if they are really getting their AR-15s, leading some to question if they are really getting their money's worth. The AK still holds appeal if you want a battle-proven classic that looks great and runs forever. But suppose you are after top-tier ergonomics, customization, and modern refinements. In that case, you might be paying extra for a Cold War relic and its undeniable cool factor. At number 9 is the High Power. John Browning may have started the High Power, but he didn't get to finish it. When it hit the scene in 1935, it turned heads with a 13-round magazine full of 9mm back when 8 rounds were considered a lot. The pistol quickly spread worldwide and has recently returned to the American civilian market. But here's the catch: that comeback carefully avoids the quirks that make the original High Power overrated. For all its historical significance, the High Power has its fair share of issues. Despite being a single-action pistol, its trigger isn't anything special, primarily thanks to the magazine safety that prevents the gun from firing without a mag inserted. On top of that, the magazines don't drop free until you have to yank them out manually. And let's not forget the infamous hammer bite, which has left plenty of shooters with an unwanted lesson in slide mechanics. Combat pistol design has come a long way since the High Power's heyday, and we no longer have to put up with these quirks anymore. Modern versions from FN and Springfield have cleaned up some of the issues and even bumped up capacity, but they still fall behind. There's no easy way to mount an optic or light, and they cost more than newer pistols that come ready for both straight out of the box. The High Power might be a classic, but in today's world it's more of a collector's piece than a true contender. Hanging on number 8 on this list is the Taurus Judge. To be frank, this is hands down one of the most divisive revolvers out there. Marketed as the ultimate home defense gun, it boasts the ability to chamber both 410 shotgun shells and 45 Colt cartridges, an unusual combo that gives it a unique but pretty niche appeal. Depending on the model, this 5-shot revolver tips the scales at around 29 ounces, with barrel lengths ranging from 2.5 to 6.5 inches. Built with either a steel or alloy frame, it's got a hefty cylinder designed to accommodate those chunky 410 shells. One of the main draws of the Judge is the idea of a shotgun revolver for close-range defense. But that selling point raises some eyebrows. Sure, firing 410 shells from a short revolver barrel sounds intimidating, but in reality, stopping power and spread patterns can be questionable. At anything beyond point-blank range, accuracy takes a hit, and the novelty of a shotgun pistol starts to wear thin. The trigger is double-action, single-action, with a noticeably heavy pull in double-action mode. Its sights are basic, typically a fixed notch and ramp, though some models come with fiber optic. Safety-wise, the Judge features Taurus's security system, allowing users to lock the action with a key, but it lacks more advanced safety features. Ergonomically, it's a mixed bag. The oversized cylinder and elongated frame can make the grip awkward, especially for those with smaller hands. As for price, the Judge typically runs between $450 and $550, which is not unreasonable and widely available. But for concealed carry, not so much. It's bulky, making it more suited for a nightstand, open carry, or backcountry duty rather than something you'd comfortably tuck into a waistband. At number 7 is the legendary HQ-MP5. This submachine gun set the gold standard back in 1964. Its closed-bolt, roller-delayed blowback system quickly became the go-to SMG for police and counterterrorism units, carving out its place in history. There's no denying its impact. It has been wielded by elite forces worldwide and cemented its status as an icon. Even in 2025, the MP5 still commands respect and an eye-watering price tag. But in today's market, the MP5 is showing its age. Its ergonomics leave a lot to be desired, with an awkwardly placed fire selector that feels anything but intuitive. Mounting optics is a hassle, and the gun isn't precisely mod-friendly. Then there's the lack of a last round bolt hold, open, which is something that should be standard on a modern SMG. And let's talk about the price. With all the competition out there, dropping serious cash on an MP5 or even a clone feels more like paying for nostalgia than performance. Newer options, like the SIG-MPX, have modernized the SMG concept with a short-stroke gas piston system, better controls, and an overall more refined design, all at a lower price point. The MP5's stamped steel construction and roller-delayed action shouldn't be that expensive to produce. Still, HK seems happy to ride on its legacy. While the MP5 is still undeniably cool when stacked against today's options, it's more of a relic than a revolutionary. Sliding in at number 6 is the Smith & Wesson M&P Shield. This pistol made waves as one of the first mass-market single-stack 9mm concealed carry guns. It was practically built for everyday carry with a slim 1-inch width, a 3.1-inch barrel, and a mag capacity of 7 to 8 rounds. At just 19 ounces unloaded, the polymer frame and stainless steel slide keep things lightweight and durable. On paper, it checks a lot of boxes. The Shield runs a striker-fired system with ES&W's signature tactile and audible reset, but what about the trigger feel? Let's just say workable is a generous description. Many owners end up swapping in aftermarket kits to smooth out the factory pull, which tends to feel a bit gritty. The standard 3-dot iron sights do the job, but they won't wow anyone. Safety-wise, you'll find models with or without a manual thumb safety depending on your preference. With a price tag hovering around $400 to $450, the Shield is easy to find. If you walk into most gun shops in the United States, odds are one's sitting on the shelf. But here's the rub. While the Shield has stayed mostly the same, the rest of the concealed carry world has sprinted ahead. Glock, Sig Sauer, and Springfield Armory have rolled out micro-compact, double-stacked pistols, packing 10 to 15 rounds in nearly the same footprint, making the Shield feel behind the times if capacity is a big deal for you. That said, the Shield still nails ergonomics for many shooters thanks to its grip angle and texturing. But being so lightweight, it can feel a little snappy when firing. The Shield still holds its own if you're all about minimal printing under a t-shirt. But newer options are leaving it in the dust when it comes to the ever-growing capacity-to-size race. Falling at number 5 is the AR-15. Few rifles spark as many debates as the AR-15. Touted as the modern sporting rifle, it's chambered in 5.56 NATO by 223, Remington and typically runs a direct impingement gas system. Civilian models usually rock a 16-inch barrel, but configurations are all over the place. Standard builds come with polymer or aluminum handguards, 30-round magazines, and a near-endless aftermarket that has helped turn the AR-15 into a phenomenon. Despite the hype, critics argue that the AR-15's so-called performance edge is more marketing than reality. Unloaded weight ranges from 6 to 8 pounds, depending on materials. Aluminum receivers are the gold standard, but polymer options exist. The trigger is left totally up to you, being single, stage, two-stage, or one of the countless aftermarket upgrades. Optics or iron sights can be slapped onto the top rail, and its ergonomics are highly customizable. Its pistol grips, buttstocks, triggers, and just about everything else can be swapped out to suit your preferences. The prices are everywhere, but its budget builds start around $400, while high-end models push past $2,000. Modularity is the AR-15's most significant selling point, but that customization rabbit hole gets expensive fast. The rifle is undeniably versatile, especially solid for home defense, sport shooting, and small to medium game hunting. However, that doesn't make it the best tool for every job. If there's one thing the AR-15 isn't lacking, it's availability. Dozens of manufacturers pump out clones and variants, making it one of the most accessible rifles on the market. But before dropping serious cash, ask yourself, are you buying an AR because you need its modularity, or is it just going to sit in your safe looking pretty? Coming in at number 4 is the EM-1014. Back in 1999, the Marine Corps went shopping for a new joint service shotgun and landed on the Benelli M4, a gas-operated semi-auto beast that went on to prove its worth in the global war on terror. At the time, semi-auto shotguns weren't known for reliability, but the M4 quickly changed that perception. It was the top dog in its class, mainly because there wasn't much competition. Fast forward to today, and the M4 is starting to show its age. Don't get me wrong, it's a legend, and it hurts to call it overrated. But let's be real, newer options like the Beretta 1301 and Mossberg 940 Pro Tactical have stepped up. They're lighter, faster, and way more modular. Stack the M4 next to 1301, and it's clear which one is built for the modern shooter. The controls are tiny and awkward. The adjustable stock technically has 3 positions, but only 2 are usable, and one of those makes the iron sights nearly worthless. Plus, it wasn't designed with today's accessories in mind, so expect to throw extra cash at upgrades. And speaking of money, it'll set you back around $2,000. The M4 is still rock solid and battle proven, but compared to what's out there now, it's living off its reputation. Right here in number 3 is the Glock 19, which is basically the Toyota Corolla of handguns. Boring to some, but rock solid and everywhere. Cops carry it, millions keep it by their bedside, and it's earned a rep for being dead simple and stupidly reliable. Chambered in 9mm with a 15-round mag, it's got just enough firepower without the bulk of a full-size pistol. At just 21 ounces, unloaded with a 4-inch barrel, the polymer frame makes it light enough to tow around all day without feeling like you're lugging a brick. Now, let's talk about the safe action trigger. Yeah, it works, but some shooters find it mushy. It is almost like squeezing a stress ball instead of breaking a crisp shot. Concerning the grip, it's a classic Glock blocky, functional, and not exactly a custom fit for every hand, which is why people go nuts with stippling and grip mods. The stock sights are adequate for basic use, with the U-notch serving its purpose. Still, they lack the precision and durability that many shooters prefer. Most users will likely replace them for enhanced performance and accuracy. And let's be honest, the name is the Glock 19's most considerable flex. It's a cultural icon, especially for the folks who lived through the polymer revolution of the 80s and 90s. But if everyone and their uncle owns one, are you really making a choice or just going with the flow? These days, for the same $500 to $600 price tag, you can grab a pistol with a better trigger, upgraded ergonomics, and factory night sights right out to the box. The Glock 19 ain't cheap, and while parts and aftermarket support are everywhere, don't just buy the hype. Get a gun that fits you. In second, we have the M1911. Throwing M1911 on this list feels like a slap in the face to both John Browning and Uncle Sam. This back-to-back World War champ put in over 70 years of service and was one of the OG semi-auto pistols picked up by the US military, right alongside the Colt M1900 and the original M1911. Back in 1911, this 45 ACP beast was cutting edge. But today, let's be honest, there are way better options. Honestly, it might be the most overhyped gun here. The old-school design doesn't play nice with modern manufacturing. And if you want a good M1911, be ready to drop some serious cash. More than you would for a modern pistol that does more for less. You're stuck with 7 or 8 rounds of 45 ACP, while today's duty pistols pack 15 to 21. That's a huge difference. It's also a hefty piece of steel, and the recoil hits harder than it needs to. Let's talk about grip safety, which feels kind of pointless nowadays. If you're carrying one, you better ensure it has a Series 80 design, or you risk it not being drop safe. On top of that, the M1911 is high maintenance and doesn't bring enough to the table to justify the hassle. It's a cool, historic piece, no doubt. But if you need a pistol that actually keeps up with modern standards, there are way better choices. Right here at number 1 is the Desert Eagle, which is straight up legendary. Chambered in 50 Action Express, this beast is practically a Hollywood celebrity, flashing its massive muzzle blast in every other action flick. Weighing in at a whopping 4.5 pounds unloaded, but not a 42. So let's not get carried away. It's less of a handgun and more of a hand cannon. With a mag capacity of 7 to 9 rounds, you're not getting Glock-level firepower. But let's be real, you won't need it when you launch a half-inch wide lead slug downrange. The single action trigger is actually pretty nice, offering a crisp break. Depending on the model, barrels range from 6 to 10 inches, boosting that already ridiculous muzzle velocity. The fixed barrel design helps with accuracy, which is great only if you can handle the recoil without spraining your wrist. Built almost entirely from steel, this thing is tough as nails but also heavy as hell. Carrying it isn't really an option as its size makes it impractical for concealment, even more significant than some carbines. Unless you have a long coat and are prepared for serious weight, it's best suited for range use. As for ergonomics, they leave something to be desired. The grip is oversized in shooting. 50 AE feels more like taking a hit from a sledgehammer than a smooth shooting experience. It does feature an ambidextrous safety, but the sights are standard. Some versions offer an optic rail if you prefer a more advanced setup. In terms of cost, expect to pay $1,500 or more. Unless you have a substantial budget or a penchant for dramatic weaponry, it's more of a luxury item than a practical firearm. That said, if your goal is to channel your inner action hero, this gun could undoubtedly help you feel like something out of a blockbuster. The massive grip makes it uncomfortable for most shooters. While the fixed barrel helps accuracy, it won't matter much when you're flinching from the recoil. Still, if you ever wanted to feel like the Terminator, this is the gun to do it with. What do you think, guys? Do you agree that these guns are overrated? To get a more blazing topic like this, watch our next video that pops up on the screen. You sure don't want to miss this. See you in the next video.